Well, coming up on First at 5, Gainesville police are investigating a family in connection with a murder last month. How an anonymous tip and eyewitness accounts led detectives to a shocking suspect.
A new charter amendment may impact what you pay for utilities. How Gainesville City Commissioners voted on the proposed ordinance.
And the Gator gymnastics team starts their championship hunt tonight. We're live in Fort Worth, Texas for the NCAA competition and what the Gators need to do to win. Those stories and more coming up. First at 5 starts right now.
From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Police in Gainesville say they found the suspect responsible for the shooting death of a local man at an apartment complex last month. It's a toddler. This is First at 5. I'm Jacob Sedesse.
And I'm Caitlyn Schiffer. Investigators also say the victim's family tried to cover up who was responsible. WFT's Juan Chaoui is live at GPD headquarters. Juan, several family members are now facing charges.
About a month ago, the Gainesville Police Department responded to a call about a shooting at the Lewis Place Apartments. Efforts to find the shooter included a $1,000 reward for anyone whose tip led to an arrest. As it turns out, today GPD revealed that shooter was a toddler. GPD's initial report said that Bernard Carter III was shot by the apartment complex near the Ironwood Golf Course. According to a press release, Carter's family claimed he then walked into their apartment and announced he had been shot, and they didn't know who the shooter was. The press release says after an anonymous tip, follow-up interviews were done with the eyewitnesses of the incident, where the children witnesses ultimately revealed the truth. It was determined Carter was accidentally shot by the toddler, and adults on the house decided to cover up the incident and mislead law enforcement. GPD Detective Sergeant John Pandak says the lies caused the investigation to go off the rails.
Well, first it was a lack of cooperation to begin with, because the truth obviously was that a small child got hold of the gun, and we could have dealt with that a lot easier without investing all the time and energy into
Carter's mother, 50-year-old LaWanda Wade, was arrested last night and charged with witness tampering and child abuse. Carter's brother, 29-year-old Quante Whitaker's arrest is pending, with the same charges along with evidence tampering and perjury. The same press release says the delayed truth prevented the toddler and children from getting crisis-related services. Sergeant Pandak mentions it's important to secure firearms to ensure that incidents like this one doesn't happen again. And officials say that the Department of Children and Families have the children in a safe place. Live from the Gainesville Police Department, Juan Chaoui, WUFT News.
Neighbors in Gainesville are taking back power over the GRU Authority. City Commissioners approved an ordinance just a few hours ago that opens a ballot on the GRU Authority Board. This means GRU Authority members will now be elected by the public instead appointed by the governor. Residents will be able to cast their first votes for the board members at the next general election, which is scheduled for Tuesday, November 5th.
Well, some Gainesville neighbors with solar panels are outraged as they say one of their key incentives to go green is going away. GRU Authority Board members all voted to change the policy for net metering last night. That policy allowed homeowners with solar panels to get reimbursed for the amount of power they were generating. Now that amount will be based on a fuel adjustment rate, so much less. Chair Craig Carter says the change is necessary to help the utility catch up on its bills. This is the last time the board will meet until the new members are in. Carter announced he has not applied to rejoin at this time.
Well, it's a good day for solar panel owners because it goes without saying if you've been outside. It's hot. This is a live look at Paynes Prairie from our DOT camera network. The UF weather team is tracking some unseasonably hot temperatures for the rest of your work week. UF forecaster AG Cornell is live in the weather studio for more on when we can see some relief from this heat wave.
Yes, so we have been seeing unseasonably hot weather over the last couple days, and unfortunately, it's not going to stop anytime soon. We take a look at our campus cam over camera. We've got some nice skies overhead. Temperatures are a little warm, 85 degrees out right now, and that is pretty uniform across the board. We see those high 80s across the board. 88 degrees in Ocala, a little bit cooler on the Gulf Coast when you look at like Cedar Key, Crystal River in those low 80s, but still it's quite a hot afternoon. Luckily, that heat is going to dissipate a little bit as we go through the rest of the afternoon, dropping our temperatures into those low 60s by tomorrow morning. Now, coming up, we're going into another hot and humid weekend. We're cooling down on Monday, but we'll be right back up to those 80s. I'll have more information for you about the forecast after the break.
Well, schools in Newberry will stay governed by Alachua County public school officials at least for the next year. It comes as the push to convert them to charter schools failed yesterday. Alachua County Public Schools Director Jackie Johnson says Florida law prevents proposals from coming up more than once a year, but that they hope to work with anyone who's concerned. Save Our Schools Representative Tyler Forrest says municipal elections next year will sway the vote against the charter initiative. Forrest says the elementary school could take on a more than $1 million debt if the vote passed. Newberry Mayor Jordan Marlowe supported the transition but did not respond to our request for comment.
Suwannee County deputies are warning residents about a recent text message scam. Officials say scammers will text you from a random number stating you have unpaid toll fees and send a clickable link to pay said fees. This is a scam and they urge you not to click on the link. Cybersecurity experts advise to never click on unknown links in text messages or emails and to use caution whenever asked to send personal information to unknown numbers.
The Gainesville attorney is headed to the bench. Governor DeSantis appointed Jonathan Ramsey to serve as judge on the Alachua County Court. Ramsey earned his master's degree in JD from the University of Florida. He has served as an assistant state attorney in the 8th Judicial Circuit. More recently, he served as an associate at Gainesville injury law firm Fine, Farkash, and Parlapiano. He will fill the vacancy created when the late Judge Walter Green retired in January.
Gainesville residents have a chance to share their thoughts about the cuts to RTS funding. City leaders are hosting a free town hall after UF leaders chose to not renew their contract for bus services for students. Administrators propose a month-to-month agreement, which city officials believe would lead to fewer routes and connections. Those who want to attend must register to get a Zoom link before it takes place on April 24th at 6 p.m.
Volunteers are doing their part to help Gainesville families suffering from food insecurity. Leaders of nonprofit food bank Farm Share are hosting the Project Youth Build free food distribution program. Volunteers will offer up items ranging from produce to canned goods in a drive-thru. Organizers ask attendees to bring vehicles with a trunk or cargo bed to receive food. The event will kick off Friday at 9 a.m. and go until supplies last.
A parent's years-long effort to increase school safety is finally making headway. The latest update in the fight to protect students is next.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
After 2.5 years in development, a school safety website is up and running. And with the help of the University of Florida, parents now have a better picture of how safe their child's school is.
WFT's Cassie DesVergers joins us live at UF with the technology used to create this database.
This dashboard is the first of its kind in the nation. It was designed for parents and school administrators to improve the safety of their schools.
18. A day that will forever be seared into Max Schachter's memory. His son, Alex, was among the 17 who tragically lost their lives after the shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. Driven by the need to enhance school safety, Schachter was determined to take action.
I have 3 other kids, and I wanted to make sure that nothing happened to them.
With help from University of Florida Associate Professor Chris Curran, Schachter created a new, comprehensive school safety dashboard. This dashboard provides information on everything from violent incidences in schools to mental health resources.
I knew that this area was an important area, and I wanted to highlight it.
The dashboard compiles data from the Florida Department of Education and U.S. Census reports. With all this information in one place, users are able to compare the data school to school or district to district. The data will also be updated 3 times a year.
I know that Alex is looking down on the work that we're doing and the University of Florida is doing from heaven and smiling and proud of what his legacy is.
Schachter says he knows that the dashboard doesn't necessarily represent how safe a school may be. However, he says it does provide the details to get important conversations going.
To check out the data on your child's school, please head over to WFT.org for a convenient link to the dashboard. Live in Gainesville, Cassie DesVergers, WUFT News.
Some nursing students from Citrus County won't have to worry about tuition anymore. Leaders of the College's Central Florida Foundation and Citrus County Hospital Board are teaming up to fund more than $11 million in tuition and fees for the college's nursing program. Experts at registerednursing.org recently named the nursing program the best in the state of Florida. The funding will cover full in-state tuition and lab fees for as many as 50 associate degree nursing students from Citrus County every year. Applicants must apply for FAFSA and the CF Foundation's scholarship application each academic year.
Students at One Marion County Elementary are headed back to school early. Kindergartner at Wyomina Park Elementary will be back in the classroom on July 22nd. School officials say the Kindergarten Kickstart program is meant to help students bond with teachers and classmates before the year officially begins. Parents must register their students by June 14th. Other schools have kindergarten stagger start that splits classrooms into 3 groups for the first 3 days of the school year, which begins on August 12th.
And in Ocala, residents have a chance to clean out their shelves. City officials are partnering with leaders of Green for Life to hold a waste amnesty day for hazardous waste and electronics. Hazardous waste items include things like paint, aerosols, car batteries, and chemicals. Electronics include cell phones, computers, monitors, and TVs. Now, waste collectors don't normally collect these items at trash pickups, and residents can take advantage of this opportunity Saturday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Northeast 14th Street and Northeast 8th Avenue.
It's been hot over the last couple days. I'm tracking that heat and I'll let you know when it lets up after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
So we're looking at another scorcher weekend here in Gainesville. As you can see on Saturday, we're looking at sunny skies throughout the day, heading up to those high 80s by the mid-afternoon. We're actually expecting to hit those 90s on Saturday. Sunday, we're a little cooler, only getting up into those high 80s, but it is going to be cloudy throughout the day. We're going to be seeing some pretty warm temperatures this weekend, and that is all because of a high pressure system that is off the coast right here. Take a look at that high pressure system. It's bringing warmth and moisture with its winds that circulate clockwise around that system, bringing those moisture and those heat to us from out in the ocean and out in the Gulf. Now, we can definitely see that on our muggy meter. We're taking a look at dew point here, and dew point is, of course, the measure of the moisture in the atmosphere. We've got dew points for the next couple days up in the 60s. We're going to be staying in those 60s with those dew points up until Tuesday after they drop down with a cold front that's coming through on Monday. So it's going to be very muggy, very hot, very uncomfortable this weekend if you are outside. Now, you may be wondering if we're with the record, and we actually are heading up to those records on Friday and Saturday. We're going to be looking at a high of 91 degrees on both days. Now, the record for the highest temperatures that we've ever seen on these days was actually set over 100 years ago. So we are quite looking at that record. Sunday, it's going to be a little cooler. However, for this time of year, our record is actually only 82 degrees. So we're quite a ways about that record. Now, if you're going to be outside this weekend, make sure you stay safe. Heat exhaustion can be fatal, so you want to make sure you're taking frequent breaks, drink lots of water, more than you need, and watch out for others. If you notice someone is getting hurt, make sure to call help and just do what you can to keep everyone safe. Now, those weather systems, we've got a lot of stuff going on above us. Now, we're not really going to see any of the effects of that until Monday morning. These fronts are going to be pushing east, but we're not really going to see a cold front coming through until Monday morning. Now, when we take a look at our 7-day outlook, we'll go ahead and jump ahead. We talked about Friday and Saturday being really warm in those 90s. Sunday, we're going to be dropping down a little bit in the 80s. Monday is going to be, of course, our storms, but we're going to be heading back up through the 80s Tuesday, Wednesday, hitting that 90 degree on Thursday.
Coming up in sports, find out who the Gators added to their basketball team for the upcoming season. As well, WFT will be live in Fort Worth, Texas for the NCAA Gymnastics National Championship. We will preview who Florida faces tonight in the semifinals. All of that and more after the break. Don't go anywhere.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome into sports. I'm Miguel Molina. The 2024 Summer Olympics may still be a couple months away, but some Gators are looking to make their mark for Paris tonight in the semifinals of the NCAA National Championships. To tell you more about what to expect from Florida's WFT's Jamie Goldman is live in Fort Worth, Texas. Jamie, I can only imagine that the atmosphere for this one is absolutely electric.
The energy inside and around Dickies Arena has been palpable all day as the Gators look to add another national championship to their collection. This year marks the 40th time in 42 seasons that the Gators have advanced to nationals. They got here behind their strongest performance of the season, posting a 198-325 in the final round of the Gainesville Regional. Now they'll be tasked with competing against number 1 Oklahoma, number 5 Utah, and number 8 Alabama tonight, with the top 2 teams advancing to the finals on Saturday. Florida will start tonight on the floor, and the meet is scheduled to begin at 9. If you missed any of the action tonight, WFT has you covered with a recap tonight on WFT.org and tomorrow on WFT's First at 5. Live from Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas, Jamie Goldman, WFT Sports.
Look, I know the men's NCAA tournament just ended, but the offseason madness is just getting started. The transfer portal is open, and the Gators are making some moves. Earlier in the afternoon, the Florida men's basketball team announced that they are signing Ruben Chinyelu. The 6'11" sophomore center marks the third offseason addition for head coach Todd Golden. Last year with Washington State, Chinyelu averaged 4.7 points, 5 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks per game. With Florida Gator forward Tyree Samuel graduating, Golden is excited to bring in the transfer and describe the center as an ultra-talented young man who fits into the culture of our program seamlessly. The season may be several months away, but Florida is already catching the attention of the college basketball world. From the hardwood to the mound, the Gators baseball team heads to Music City tonight to take on number 13 Vanderbilt. After losing 2 series in a row to South Carolina and Missouri, Florida bounced back big against Jacksonville University on Tuesday. Behind stellar pitching by Jake Clemente, who threw for 5 strikeouts, the Gators gave up only 1 run to JU. Offensively, the Orange and Blue have been looking sharper as they have combined for a total 26 hits in the last 2 games. Riding into the weekend series with the Commodores, Florida has their work cut out for them as Vanderbilt is 20-3 at home. However, an all-time series lead of 147-81, the Gators will be tuned up with confidence in Nashville tonight. Brandon Neely gets his 3rd straight start on the mound. First pitch is at 6. From bats to rackets, Gator baseball is not the only team dealing with the Commodores today. Right now, the number 25 Gators tennis team is competing against Vanderbilt in round 1 of the SEC tournament in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The matchup score is currently 1-0 in favor of Vandy. Gator Nate Bonetto won set 1 6-4 against Jeremy Casaubon. Florida's Tanapot Niradorn leads Michael Ross 1-0. Finally, UF Aiden Kim is trailing Vandy's Nathan Cox after dropping set 1. One final note, Gators men's basketball player Will Richard has declared for the NBA draft. However, he did say if he's unable to get drafted that he will maintain his college eligibility and return to Florida for next season.
Well, thankfully you can play basketball indoors because I would not want to be exerting myself physically outside today.
No, not at all. It is exhausting. But AG, how is the weather looking for the rest of the week?
Unfortunately, we're going to be continuing to look at those high temperatures. I know I'll be inside this weekend studying for my exams. We're going to be staying in the 90s for Saturday and Sunday, dipping down a little bit on Sunday. Monday, we're going to go ahead and see those storms come through, dropping to the 80s, warming back up next week before hitting 90 degrees again next Thursday.
Well, thanks for joining us. We're back here tomorrow for another edition of First at 5.
But your North Central Florida news is always on at WUFT.org and on all our social media platforms. Have a good night.